Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is the one and only Tiono here, and I am from the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our brand new Let's Play for the channel, alongside with the Forms of Night's Journey of Dreams for the Nintendo Wii. This time around, I'm going to be taking on the forms of another Game Boy game, 3 in a row for the sake of this year so far, because previously we've done Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, along with DreamWorks Ants, but now we're going to be taking on the forms of the very first Wario Land game that's ever existed of. And that's what appears to be Wario Land Super Mario Land 3, which is the third and the final game to be on the actual Super Mario Land trilogy. And except rather than taking control of Mario, instead we're now going to be taking control of Wario, meaning that this is one of his first ever platformer games ever made. And this game did first came out in 1994, which came out the same year as when The Lion King first came out, along with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic Triple Trouble for the Sega Game Gear. But regardless of everything else though, is the fact that as you can see on screen, once again I'm going to be playing this on the emulator. So just in case you can able to definitely see on the actual, the screen just fine. And yeah, we're about to get started here. And I think this is one of the first ever Wario Land games I'm going to be playing through for you guys. And because of this, we're going to be doing a Wario Land marathon of Let's Plays. Starting with, of course, the original, all the way up to Wario Land The Shake Dimension, aka in America, Shake It. So either way though, yeah, let's get to it with Wario Land Super Mario Land 3. And of course, if you couldn't tell, is the fact that the first world in the game, which appears to be by the forms of Rice Beach. And yeah, let's get this thing to it. So obviously the gameplay style for the forms of Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, is the fact that, well, it kind of feels like it's somewhat similar to Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, except the fact that obviously, as you can tell, obviously we're going to be taking control of Wario the whole time. And in addition to that though, is the fact that, well, as you can tell, the rather than just trying to able to jump on enemies, just like the forms of how it does it on Super Mario Land 2, because in order to able to defeat enemies in this game, is that you're gonna have to deal with some sort of like an arm bash, which or the actual a punch kind of thing. So, but either way though, and as you can tell, very similar to Super Mario Land 2. 6 Golden Coins is the fact that, well, as you can tell, we do have a time limit right here. So, and also, much like the forms of Super Mario Land 2, there are extra lives that is usually accounted for. And also, we need to collect those coins. Now, I'll discuss more about the forms of the coin system in terms of, you know, this game in particular, which I'll get into that sooner or later. But as you can see on the actual bottom portion of the screen, in addition to the life system, as well as the coins counter, and even the actual, the time limit, as you can see, we now actually have ourselves hearts. Which, remember the forms of Super Mario Land 1 and Super Mario Land 2, those hearts can be used by getting yourselves extra lives. In this game, basically, if you get hearts, well, I'm assuming there are two different ways you can able to get hearts. Like, one of them is the heart pickup, which can be usually be hidden in one of those blocks, as you can see, and that gives us 10 hearts. And if you defeat an enemy, like I just did right there, that actually counts as you able to increase one of your hearts. And, sorry, excuse me about that, I do apologize for this point, folks. And, basically, if you want to know what really happens if you do manage to able to get 100 hearts in this game, basically it gives you an extra life. So it kind of feels like similar to, you know, the enemy defeat counter from the forms of Super Mario Land 2. Like in Super Mario Land 2, that you're able to get a freebie Starman if you manage to defeat 100 enemies. But in this game, you get 1-up if you manage to able to collect like 100 hearts. Ah, dang it. Yeah, if you get hit just once, if you're fully powered up, this means you're able to become Small Wario, which, I mean, what is this, like Super Mario World 2.0? Oh, wait a second, we've already done that Let's Play, haven't we? But anyway, as you can tell, I think you start things off with default Wario, for starters, by, you know, the actual, you know, the normal size Wario, because as you can tell, all you can really do is this usual jump, as well as the forms of, you know, just a arm kind of dash punch. Which, if you remember from the forms of our Let's Play in Wario World for the GameCube back in 2019 or something, basically that punch will allow you to able to punch certain enemies and all that stuff. So even then though, not much else to talk about. And aside from the forms of normal regular Wario, that just like in the forms of certain Mario games, we might come across into certain power-ups every once in a while. Like, we'll discuss more about them until whenever we're able to get into the later portion of this Let's Play. And, as far as for this particular requirement for this game, I'm obviously going to be going for 100% completion. So, meaning about the fact that I'm going to be able to try to get the best ending in the game, because there are a grand total of 6 endings at the game. So, yeah, so many endings to able to come across into. Oh yeah, to finish the main level, as you can see on screen, what that mole thing is trying to do, basically you have to able to press the directional pad up and press B at the same time, and as you can tell, that he managed to use, or that mole rather, just managed to use one of those special coins. And that's how you're able to end off the level here. But it does require 10 coins, by the way, in order to finish the level. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. And especially noticeable because, usually, relatively speaking, I'll just try to go ahead and try to farm as many of those coins as I possibly could. Especially noticeable if you really want to get the best ending in the game. Well, best of luck, really, because otherwise you do need to collect a whole bunch of coins, including some of these treasures, as you can see on screen on that particular results tally, which I'll discuss more about that later on. So, anyways, let's move on to course number 2, which, for the most part, Rice Beach is a very self-explanatory world, so you might able to get used to with the main mechanics of the game, especially noticeable with, as you can see, we're now able to see Bull Wario, which, as far as I'm aware, that is usually how you usually calls it that, which appears to be Bull Wario. Sorry for a little bit of an opposite name, but anyway, what he can do is the fact that he can able to, well, you're still able to do a little bit of a charge attack and all that jazz, and you can also just try to jump with it too. And this time that you're now able to actually utilize a ground pound, so that way you can able to stun these enemies. And basically defeating these enemies can be essential in this game, especially noticeable because some of these enemies will able to contain coins inside of them. So yeah, that's as far as I can usually try to say about this for the most part. So but I digress. So today's day is of course the 2nd of February today, in this case in 2021, and not much else to talk about honestly guys, apart from the fact that, well, until when it gets to the point until likely or so, 2 weeks left until the Maxi Toys will become 10 years old. So I can't even believe time itself just went flying. Especially noticeable that I will point things out right away. Until whenever we get on to the 4th part of this playthrough, I'm probably not going to upload anything during the course of for this game until likely next 2 weeks time. Especially because there's this special event coming up. So yeah, just stay tuned for that, because otherwise should be pretty exciting if I have to say so for myself. And especially noticeable because we've only got 10 days left until, obviously, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury will be releasing until 10 days time, so I'm very excited for that. So, yeah, should be pretty surprising as far as I'm aware. So, and there's also a midway point, which in order to able to activate the midway point is similar to utilizing the goal. Basically, he's gonna have to use, like, quite a few coins to able to toss it into that checkpoint. So, yeah, it might be pretty handy though. But again, if you really want to get the best ending in the game, you have to collect a whole bunch of coins. In addition to that, we need to collect all the treasure chests as much as we could. So, yeah, that could be a little bit more something usually, alright? Especially noticeable how the fact that it will become stable in the future Wario Land series, most notably in Wario Land 2, Wario Land 3, and especially noticeable with Wario Land 4, perhaps? And also same applies to Wario Land The Shake Dimension, which, or in this case, Shake It. So, yeah, that's as far as I can say about it. And as you can see, we actually come across into our another power-up that we've got, which appears to be Beat Buddy forms of Jet Wario. if you jump and then press the B button in midair, basically Wario can able to fly for a bit, which is pretty awesome actually. And also you notice on that previous power-up you saw for about a few seconds ago, we actually come across into Dragon Wario, which if you manage to able to press the B button while you're in the forms of the Dragon power-up, basically it allows you to able to breathe fire. So that's pretty awesome and wicked at the same time. So yeah, because unlike the forms of the future Wario Land series, that basically Wario will able to actually come across into certain transformations every once in a while, which we'll point those out whenever we get into those Wario Land retrospective games. Yes, this also means including the Virtual Boy Wario Land, which I think I'm also able to do that at some point after this. So, but either way though, just to make things a little bit more of a sensible chronological order in terms of the Wario Land series as far as releases, as far as I'm concerned. But despite the fact that the Virtual Boy was actually a miserable failure, which we'll talk more about that until whenever we get into Virtual Boy Wario Land for sure. So, but either way though, let's just go ahead and fly straight through to the actual door below, and before we continue things on, we'll grab 10 more hearts before we're able to just trying to get another 1-ups as far as we can able to consider this the actual main fact. So, and basically, oh jeez Louise, we're gonna have to able to dodge this particular enemy over there, and we'll end off the level from there. So again, cost 10 coins in order to finish the level, so there we go. That pretty much takes care of course number 2. Oh, and by the way, one thing I forgot to mention is the fact that you have a selection of 2 bonus games. One of them involves around just grinding for more coins, and another one grinds you more hearts by, you know, simply just able to do a bomb tossing kind of activity minigame. So, at least the coin one is actually like luck based as it is. However though, for the second minigame, which I'm about to show you off for this point guys, I'm not very good at it, because the depth perception is actually slightly off in my taste, and also because I'm not very good at timing on this minigame, especially I did manage to try to able to time myself just right, even though that whenever I managed to play it on my own time, on my my original cartridge version of the game, that I seem to able to just keep on screwing things up. And oh boy, whenever we get onto Wario Land 3, that in one of those emphasis on secret treasures and all that stuff, specifically golf kind of stuff, this is going to be something else. But if you do manage to get all 5 enemies in a row, then you get yourselves a 1-up at least, so yeah, there's not much right to home about, so alright, so here we go, on to level 3, and as you can see, we got ourselves a very peculiar double circle right there on level 3. This meaning about the fact that this level does have 2 exits. Like, the one we're going to be aiming for is the normal exit, because there's nothing we can do in terms of getting the forms of the secret exit as far as I'm concerned, unless, until when we get into the forms of the later portion of, you know, Rice Beach as a result, because otherwise I'll show this off until whenever we finish up the, well, let's just say the 5th course, because otherwise that's, we'll go in the actual, the correct order of levels, so just in case it doesn't get too confusing at one point or another, but at least it's something is worth noting for. So, anyways, let's go ahead and just get ourselves 10 more hearts, along with, like, trying to equip, you know, the actual Dragon Wario. And in fact, those particular power-ups do kind of reminds me of something almost related to Wario Master of Disguise for the DS, as far as I'm aware. But let's not get ahead of ourselves at this point with Wario Master of Disguise, because I think, honestly, I have to admit though right away, it is by far one of my least favorite Wario games. Well, at least I'll give Wario World some credit for it. At least it's fun and pretty cool looking, despite it was actually kind of short, and it might be seems a bit slightly rushed, but either way though, it's not too noticeable, I don't think. Even especially noticeable if, like, as much as I always enjoy Wario World for the GameCube. In fact, I don't think I can probably get back into that game. Oh, son of a... I really hate that enemy sometimes, but hey, on the upside is that we instantly got ourselves Bull Wario right here, so at least we can able to bust out those blocks so that way we can able to just continue our progressioning here. Now, seems more convenient enough though is that unlike the Forms of the Future games on the Wario Land series, basically it's the fact that the entire emphasis on Wario Land series is all about exploration. Whilst in this game does have a lot of emphasis on exploration, but you can't just wander around for too long, because otherwise, as far as you guys should know, this game does have a time limit, which also the same applies for, you know, Wario Land for the Virtual Boy. But luckily I did manage to able to actually access to the Virtual Boy emulator, so that way we can able to tackle through Wario Land for the Virtual Boy, because I don't know if anyone else seemed to talk about that game all that much, because obviously Virtual Boy was actually a miserable Nintendo console, which yeah, that seems very standard stuff, because otherwise it'll just get like commercial failures, and also selling points doesn't go, you know, nearly as high as Nintendo Wii, I would say Nintendo Switch, Nintendo DS, and 3DS essentially too. So yeah, that might seems a little bit obvious for why, you know, Virtual Boy is a miserable failure. So anyway, so we can't go up there in a moment because, well, obviously we'll have to wait and see what happens. Enjoy it at some point later on throughout the entire Let's Play itself. So, because from now on, we found the normal exit, which obviously it'll lead us straight into level 4. So, yeah, that seems very standard stuff for the most part. Nice. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to level 4. Yeah, the first level is not that long though. It seems that some of these levels can go by really quick. But, assuming if you're able to try to grab the ridiculous amount of coins, as far as I'm aware. Oh jeez, this level. This level involves a round that we have to run away, and we have to go all the way to the right, because if we backtrack to the left, we might as well notice is that particular flump-looking, enemy, that it was trying to able to crush you. But not only that, you have to be very careful with this guy that is about to be chasing us, because if you dare touch the forms of the sides of the thwomp, because basically it's that you will instantly die if you dare touch the spikes, which that must have been very painful at this point, because even then, unlike in certain new Super Mario Bros. Games, specifically New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and I believe New Super Mario Bros. U, or something, or perhaps even maybe New Super Mario Bros. 2 as well, that if you dare get touched by the forms of some spikes in those forms, basically you will get hit, but you don't lose a life instantly. But in here, you will lose a life instantly if you dare touch the forms of some sides of the thwomp, which can be very deadly and devastating at the same time. And also if you fell into that particular, I would say a water or lava, you instantly die as well. So, or perhaps I may be wrong, but either way though, I wasn't really know about the forms of this game as much as the forms of how it does it in the future games. But hey, at least it's something. So anyways, let's keep on moving. Just be sure to keep on bust out those blocks, and just in case we really refuse to able to get killed instantly by that thwomp, and of course the spikes up below or up above as well. So in fact, there's actually a cool trick if you really want to get more coins, that if you try to toss the enemy over, like, let's just say beneath the thwomps themselves, basically what's cool about this is that if you come across into those plus coins, you're able to actually get yourselves 10 coins, which I will say that is definitely worth it. Especially noticeable because usually if you really want to max out your coins counter, then you should probably keep doing that strategy, because otherwise that will help you out if you do not know what you're about to be doing. So anyways, for a while though, I was able to actually just to grind for some more coins by doing, let's just say a luck-based bonus game, which is of course it's like a 50-50 chance between if you either lose half of your coins, or you will able to increase your half amount of coins. I'm presuming so anyway, so yeah, I thought to myself for that. So yeah, let's give that another third chance, and conveniently enough, we actually got very lucky right there. Again, it's a bit luck-based though, if you really want to go ahead and try to grab, you know, more coins for that particular bonus game. But if you really want to do that, then by all means do that. So anyway, so now we've got done with that, and that actually leads us to, I would say 700 or 600 to be more precise. I think it's like 680 or something. So yep, 680. So good thing I did manage to guess that correctly. So anyways, and every once in a while though, much like the forms of Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, basically, whenever you come towards that particular skull thing right there on the world map, this actually represents you able to face off against with a boss. And just like the forms of Super Mario Land 2, we have to go for the actual platforming segment first, before we face off against with a boss fight. So, whilst unlike the forms of how it does it in Wario Land 4, that we will dive straight into the boss instantly, and same applies to Wario Land Shake It, or Wario Land the Shake Dimension, if you want to be more specifically trying to call it that. And yeah, anyway, so let's just go ahead and deal with this, the 10 coin trick again, because I've seen a lot of YouTube videos that constantly do that, and it really does help. Especially noticeable that, again, if you really want to go for the best ending out of, you know, all 6 endings of the game, there was the worst ending, the bad ending, an okay ending, the good ending, the great ending, and the perfect ending. Now, as far as for this particular Let's Play is concerned, I will try to aim for the perfect ending, because as a result, that, usually, much like in any other Mario games from the past, then we pretty much expected able to do the 100% requirements completionist, so... But usually as far as how it usually goes. So either way though, we'll talk more details about this specific stuff until later. So anyways, let's go ahead and just... Oh god, I hate these guys. These guys can be very annoying to deal with. Especially noticeable that obviously you can't usually attack them from behind. So you have to like bash them from behind. And to make matters even much more irritating is that basically sometimes they're able to actually send out those very annoying ball projectile stuff. I don't know what you're specifically trying to call these things. But, anyways, before we continue, in order to able to get these items from that blocks, or these trios of blocks, just activate that, switch block. That way, you can able to actually just, what else? Grab even more hearts. I mean, what is this, like Kingdom Hearts syndrome? Nah, just totally kidding, because this game came out before Kingdom Hearts exist. But anyway... And as soon as you reach that specific point on the level, then basically you were able to face off against with the, some boss fights. And I think the first boss in the game is actually known as Spiked Koopa. And it might seems pretty easy, but the hardest part about this fight is that, oh man, his attacks is way too fast, as you can see. But to deal the amount of damage on Spiked Koopa, that you have to specifically jump onto its stomach, or jump right into their stomach. And the more you do it, like 3 times in a row, and once you defeat the boss fights, these coins actually spew out. Which, yeah, it seems pretty awesome in theory. Especially noticeable how the fact that, whilst unlike in Super Mario Land 2, you get yourselves a golden coin to able to actually get access to, like, you know what I mean, Mario's castle. But anyway, enough about that, and let's go ahead and leave. And we actually got about 178 coins that we've got. So yeah, pretty cool and pretty awesome at the same time, but usually the first boss can be pretty difficult if you're not careful. So anyway, that pretty much takes care of it from here. And of course we're able to get into the forms of the next world, which is Mount Teapot, but let's not go there just yet, because we need to head back into Rice Beach, because after when you complete Rice Beach, the actual sea is actually now going slightly further. And because of that, we can now able to do more things in Course 3 specifically. And what do I mean by that? First of all, that you notice that the background music actually changes. Which meaning that, as you can see, we come across into this familiar key lock, or that little keyhole over there. Which meaning that in order to able to 100% everything in this game, well, I said this before, that you need to able to get the ridiculous amount of coins. And to top it all off, we need to grab all the treasures in the game. There are about 15 of them. So, in this case, we need to find the specific key that is usually hidden on one of those blocks. And if you manage to find a key, then you're gonna have to take it all the way to that particular keyhole that you've actually went past. So, for instance, if I was gonna go, like, let's just say, over towards, here, and then basically toss the key over there, and that way, it'll actually enter us into the secret treasure room. And by the way, something you need to keep that in mind, usually any power-up and, normal Wario can only be activated with this particular treasure chest, but if you're in small Wario form, this will not activate at all, so keep that in mind. So, yeah, it's kind of like, feels like it's slightly similar to one of those secret exits in, Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, because, obviously in Super Mario Land 2, that in small Mario form, Mario cannot able to perform a spin jump. Only, you know, regular Super Mario, along with, Fire Mario, but not so much for Bunny Mario, but anyway. So now we've got ourselves the very first treasure in the whole entire game so far, so we've only got about 14 treasures to go. And, obviously we can able to expect to do even more things here and there. So, and there's also a midway point if you want to grab it, but honestly, there's not much to write home about. Especially noticeable that the next thing we need to aim for is, of course, the secret exit. And to get to there, you notice about the fact that the actual sea of water is actually now rises up. So meaning about the fact that we can able to do a lot more emphasis on swimming this time. And to top it all off though, is the fact that, well, since that we've already experienced the normal exit, oh jeez, these guys. And by the way, something's worth mentioning is that if you manage to equip Dragon Wario, as you can see on screen, you don't get coins if you manage to able to just burn those enemies down. So, yeah, that might be seems a little bit of a drawback to this particular power-up. So, oh well, not the end of the world, honestly, because either way, though, I will able to try and considerably try to able to grab, you know, a lot of coins as much as I can. So, I'm also able to hopefully try to do that. So. Oh yeah, I believe that for Bull Wario, I'm presuming that you can also just manage to able to hang on the ceiling or something, even though we haven't come across into that yet, until eventually later on, so anyways, we need to be very careful around here, and we got another 1-up by, you know, defeating all sorts of enemies, so anyways, now we can go up here, and because of that, this will lead us to the secret exit, so yeah, pretty awesome, swell. However, there's going to be any other levels throughout the whole game that usually differs between, you know, the normal door to able to actually just to entering into, because there are some, other exits that is usually differs between us, which, we'll talk more about that whenever we get into, like, I don't know, let's just say in the third world or the second world. I have no idea how do I even just try to precise with that, so. Anyways, let's begin with the forms to the next level, which is course number 6. And basically, after we leave this room, while grabbing ourselves the spare Bull Warrior power-up, there's not much else difficult about this level, apart from the fact that it's more accurately a coin collectathon level, which is pretty cool, especially noticeable that it's actually really easy to able to get a whole bunch of coins if you don't reach the highest amount of coins you can get if you really want to get the best ending in the game. So yeah, that might be seems a little bit obvious for that point. So the main emphasis on this level is that, as you can see, you know what these little crabs that manage able to hide themselves in a buried sand? Well, you can able to perform a ground pound by just manage to able to come out of the sand, then punch straight away, and then you would able to grab some coins from there. So, yeah, just keep doing that in the process, and then you should be good to go. At least if you really want to, like, you know, keep on replaying this stage if you don't have enough coins to able to get the best ending. So it's a definitely recommendable choice if you really want to go for this way. So, and of course there will be some occasional hidden blocks, which actually obviously contains, you know, 10 hearts. So, but either way though, that's nothing else to be said things considered. So, even though unfortunately I did manage to waste 10 coins, but that's fine because, nonetheless though, we've basically done Rice Beach. So, again, it's not the heart of the world until when we get to the point until likely, the upcoming worlds. It gets like really tough later on. So, Because, you know, to be expected with most old school games every nowadays, they just manage to make things a little bit difficult these days. So, yeah, I suppose. How do I exit this out? Oh yeah, it's the B button, or the X button on my keyboard on my emulator, so yeah, I should probably end things off at this point right here. So join me next time on Let's Play Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. It's the fact that we are moving on to the next world, which appears to be Mount Teapot, so it should be interesting. So I'll see you guys on Thursday.